And welcome back to Purple Sector, everyone. We have finished the Monaco GP, and we're actually recording day of. Finally, it's
For
kind of
once.
rare at the moment. Congrats to Kimi. He has a 66-point lead, right? Let me look at the notes. 66-point lead,
Yep.
and he's looking strong, very strong.
Yeah, he grabbed this one by the balls and didn't let go. Youngest Monaco Grand Prix winner. Smoked George once again. Put up an absolutely monstrous lead over everybody.
He's what, 45
He would have
seconds?
lapped. Yeah, I mean he lapped basically everyone but the podium. Prior
I
to the
think he
safety car.
lapped up to fifth place. Yeah, up to fifth place.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he was way out there, and then he did it again after the restart. He had like 6.5 seconds on Lewis, and like 20 something seconds on Hadjar. So he was just absolutely flying. He did the little burnout thing that he does on his
Signature
last
move.
laps. Pretty sick. You and I were talking about it. It is very sick. I think at some point someone's gonna have a
It,
talking to him, or he's gonna
it's
do it
it,
and he's gonna hit a wall. But it
I think he
looks awesome.
currently has the leash until it hurts him at the way he's going.
Yeah, yeah.
That
Well,
was a blowout.
yeah, and the thing that I love was we've heard this from GP and Max before, right? Where GP is like, you don't need to be pushing, no risk, no risk. Fastest lap, fastest lap, fastest lap. That was Kimi today. Bono was on the radio to him multiple times. This is not a track to mess around on, but he was just sending it. I love it.
He
Um, I
definitely
can't count him out
has.
anymore.
No, he's. I won't. Not saying to go this far, but with comparisons, we're looking at like a baby goat right now. He's a
Oh yeah,
baby goat.
this is yeah. I mean, even Max, I would say, had a little bit more of an on ramp than Kimi has had. Now, given
Oh,
Max didn't have this car in his second year,
yeah, I was about to
but
say.
Kimi's proven to be a pretty damn good driver.
No, he's. I mean, he's good. I think we can move past the like he's. I think he's proven he is.
Hmm.
Obviously, he's still young. I'm sure there'll still be mistakes, but he's gotten past the crappy. I mean, he's done well with the crappy restarts. He seems to be doing better at the starts. Um, he's just solid, man, and I like the confidence. To like, yeah, I'm gonna bust out a fastest lap, like very Max-esque. He doesn't even get a point for it anymore. This is just a like,
No,
hey, by the way, I'm actually this fast.
that's such a lame rule. They need to bring that back. I don't know why we got rid of it in the first place. If you have a problem with it, then maybe reconsider the fact that VCarb is a second team for Red Bull. That's another podcast. We'll
Or
talk
then to
about that.
make the point count for like top 10.
It's not, they just need to do something with it. It needs
Is
to mean
it,
something. But
yeah.
um, so I just had a thought. We're off the script already, which I love. Um, because I've been talking up until this point, Kimi's performance, waiting for the pressure to get to him and for him to buckle. We saw this happen last year with Oscar. Thus far, Kimi hasn't had any problems. I mean, look at how he just handled Monaco, one of the biggest races of the calendar. If Kimi pulls this out and he just drives off into the distance with this championship, does this actually hurt the narrative on Oscar?
I think, sorry, anyone that hears it, I have two kittens in here, so bad things might happen. They're already starting. Um, I think it does a little bit. Um, let's see, how far did Oscar get in? Like, I
He
mean,
didn't
like a
have
third of
this
the
kind of
season.
lead,
No, he
but
didn't have this kind of lead, so I would say
he
I
got
think
up to like
Oscar had
30
more
something.
pressure, honestly. I think George has shown the cracks and he's starting to crumble.
You bring up a good point. I think if George's performance was higher, I think the pressure on Kimi would be much higher. So the fact that George is maybe underperforming is kind of letting Kimi, well, not letting him off the hook, but he's not facing the kind of pressure that Oscar was facing with Lando, breathing down his neck, finishing P2 every race. So
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is he's had enough. I mean, other than George's bad luck last race, right? Like you can see that Kimi's down to fight, but other than that, George has been like further back than Lando was. So they don't have the same car right there. You know, it's another cars haven't been as competitive. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
He's had with George not there, he's had the space. So maybe we could say no. I feel like you can't say he hasn't been pressured because he's had the pressure. I mean, I think he's just proven he's solid. He can handle the pressure. And now it's just gonna be a matter of if he can keep it this clean. I mean, the way that things are going, and this is like way too early. It's looking like a Max season where he lost
I
one
had
race.
that same thought.
That's what it's looking like it could be. The car seems very superior still. You could tell some cars are getting better, which I'll get to part of that in the next section we're going to talk about. But I don't see him not winning the championship the way things are going. He's too good.
I agree. It kind of cracks me up because you look at him and he's this 19-year-old kid and he looks like he's super gullible and happy-go-lucky and like cheesing and, you know, sitting next to Lewis and he's got, you know, grinning ear to ear. But boy, does this kid have a killer instinct on the track. Like, he dialed it up to 11 in Quali. That was an impressive Quali run. I do think that Charles would have given him a run for his money if he didn't tap the wall.
Statistically, and this is obviously based off the Sector 1 and then like going into Sector 2, statistically Charles was ahead already.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I think it would have been fun.
It's a big if.
Yeah. Well, what you want is you want to start on the front row, and then it's down to your start. And Kimi has gotten over his bad start plague that he had at the beginning of the season. He crushed it, and then he crushed it on the red flag restart. But I'm kind of tired of giving Mercedes their roses. Zooming out here, what are your impressions of the race? You and I have had some long conversations about Monaco.
We're just talking race overall right now. That's what you're thinking?
Yeah. Like, was it enjoyable?
Not really. I mean, it's a snoozer. There are a couple big what ifs. I mean, we'll get away from Max fanboy for a second. Obviously, I went straight into depression for the first lap of the race. That hurt based on how, like I said, I'll step away as the Max fan for a second. Based on Red Bull's performance this weekend, that sucks. And the big what if there is everyone that knows Max knows that he's going to freaking go balls out on turn 1 and that entire next like 1, 2, 3 laps, and he's going to be breathing down Kimi's neck. And if there's a time that there was going to be an overtake, he would have tried. He has nothing to lose right now, everything to gain. Like he doesn't care, and it's that same mentality that we're saying Kimi has. Max is like the nicest dude on track. He doesn't get that persona, but if you talk to the drivers, he's an awesome dude. He puts the helmet on, he's a demon, and that's what Kimi's showing. You hear him on the radio. He's like, "Why? Why am I slowing down? I could keep pushing." Like, you have 45 seconds, bro. You could do like 3 pit stops right now.
He's like complaining, I'm losing power. He's like, it was just a little bit of derating. You're fine. There. Yeah.
Toto's back there.
Turn it down.
Don't show them my power. I mean, like I said, it's a big what if. Like, if Max can make that more exciting in the beginning, do we have a fight for more of it? Is Ferrari right on their butts for longer? But other than that, once you get out of the first like 5 laps, you're showing it was Lando chasing Gasly, and it was George, who's in front of him, George on Hadjar for like the whole race. You don't see any of the leaders. Every once in a while they'll throw one up there. Like, you don't see those races. You don't see the leader. You don't see second. You don't see third. Piastri was in 5th like the whole race, and you never saw him. Like they saw him one time because George was getting backed up.
Yeah, well, they face the same problems that they face every year, right? And the thing that kind of irked me this year was even the commentators were kind of, they were like edging us, right? They're like, oh, it might be processional, it might not be. Oh, looks like we might get an overtake. And it's like, 30 laps of just Lando on Gasly's butt and nothing happens other than Lando's engine crapping out again.
Which brings me back to that point, by the way. Just bring me back to that when we're done with this.
Yeah, no, believe me, we're going to complain about McLaren.
That's your depression.
Yes, we both get to complain today. But last year before we started the pod, you and I had all kinds of working theories about how do you fix Monaco, and to me,
this is like hours, by the way, not like a 10-minute conversation.
This is a cross-country drive conversation, multiple hours. To me, I think we're at the point where Monaco needs to be treated differently. I understand the history, the spectacle. It is kind of the epitome of Formula One, but the racing itself is not the excitement. I would argue that qualifying is actually the more exciting part of Monaco. Who is going to dial it up and just put in the biggest, most crazy lap, right? Pushing everywhere. And I'm almost like, does that become the spectacle? Like, does this become... Do you create a new format that's special to Monaco? And that's, instead of doing a race, which just becomes a parade, right? Is it just like a knockout round of qualifying laps or something? Yeah, like can we come up with some other kind of platform that just... If we're not going to modify the track so that cars can actually pass one another, something needs to change or it needs to go away. I don't think anyone wants it to go away at this point. I think some fans would say that, but I
wouldn't be that mad about it, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the fence, but I would like to see them try something outside of the box to revive just the entertainment value of Monaco. Not everyone's got billions of dollars in a yacht, and we can go hang out with Kim Kardashian and all these people, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So, I like the Quali idea. I would go back to our preview episode and say, we have regulations for a reason. Let them run the regs. Mm-hmm. Why are we changing it? We don't know how it's going to be in Monaco. Just send it. We had track issues, which we'll get to. We had yellow flags. We had a red flag. I mean, maybe we'll have some crashes. I mean, we had some weird stuff go on a restart. Let them play out the regs. Figure out your pit stops. Yeah, a little modification would be great. Like, we need a little bit of... We need somewhere to pass. But
I don't think the track has the means to support it. Like, they took out the straight mode, but if you look back at the previous generation of cars, no one was making DRS passes into turn one.
Heck
like
no.
Maybe one ever. Like, yeah, like that is prime. You're asking to lock up and go into the wall. So like, yes, I full-heartedly agree. They shouldn't be messing around with the regs. Just let the cars be what the cars are. But I don't think that fixes the race. I think something else has to give.
No, I can agree. I don't know. Something has to happen. It's a snoozer. Like I said, I think there is a big what if potential for the first few laps. But even after that, it gets settled and it comes down to mistakes, pit strategy, and safety cars. That's what the race is. I mean, Lindblad got points because he didn't pit forever. And they got a red flag.
It just got lucky.
He just got lucky. And they got
race of attrition.
That basically is like the epitome of Monaco. But let's not do that forever because we'll be here for 2 hours. There's no way to fix it. It's broken. I mean, I feel like the big point is the cars are way bigger now, even though they just made them smaller. They're not. They're big compared to...
They're still significantly bigger than...
the good old days.
Yeah. Yep. Well, yeah, I think you and I both agree. Like there was moments of excitement here and there. Quali was overall better for sure. Lance Stroll's crash at the end and the safety car, and then the restart, and then the red flag, and then the restart again, probably made this race a lot more exciting than it otherwise would have been. Kimi would have won by 50 seconds, a minute, who knows? Um, let's talk about that crash real quick, and then I want to come back to Max and Lando, and just McLaren's luck. What do you think of Lance's crash? Because we poke a lot of fun at the guy. He's an easy target, nepo baby. He's not a terrible driver.
He's not.
The track was breaking up. You know, they called it all the marbles and stuff, the tire marbles, but it was actually debris from the track that had been pulled up. Apparently, this happened in a Porsche Super Cup series earlier in the day, and they tried to fix it, but then just repeatedly it got pulled up. And you can see that stopped Lance's ability to stop the car, and he goes into the wall. Marshals do a great job of pulling that thing out of the track and getting us restarted. I think the thing that took the longest was getting all the lapped cars out of the way. That's why we had such a long restart. And then almost immediately, Charles does the exact same thing. He blames the brakes, which he's had issues with on other races. But if you watch that replay, I have to think it was almost the exact same thing that Lance did, right? Same area.
Yeah, I mean,
got into the debris, into the wall.
Tires, track breaking up. I mean, you can see when they're looking at it that it was broken up. And my minimal experience of construction back in the day, they probably just used cold patch on it and stomped 100%. It down. So that's not, I mean, cold patch, you could take a shovel and like rip it up. So I don't think it's going to take Formula cars going over.
Yeah, you put a hot tire over it and it just starts picking it up immediately.
Just makes it soft again. So probably the same thing. Charles has been complaining about the brakes a lot, which is funny because he was so outspoken after in his interview. Brembo released a statement.
Really?
Saying that they don't, basically that he doesn't have enough data to be saying things like that, which I'm like, oh damn, okay, so he's pissing some people off.
Yeah, well, he ruffled some feathers for sure, but there is, I think, something to that. I saw his interview and he was talking about that they've got to upgrade. Lewis decided to take it. Charles opted not to take it because he knew these brakes and kind of gambled on, rather than racing on brakes that he didn't have a feel for, gambling with the brakes that he had. And so he's probably projecting, like he probably feels some ownership in that decision about not. Yeah. So it sounds like he's going to take Lewis's upgrade moving forward and just get used to those brakes. That was my takeaway from his interview. But, I want to focus more on this track thing. Like, we got a red flag after Charles, right? Charles's car got cleared up too, but that was when they realized that the track was a problem here.
They had the thing picked up in like 30 seconds. Like they flashed away and they flashed back. And I was like, oh crap, there's a crane right there. Like it's gone.
Yeah. So how much blame do you give the FIA for not recognizing this as part of the first crash? Like, should Charles have a bone to pick with the FIA here for not catching this track issue earlier?
Maybe slightly, but I guess Lance's was not that far ahead of it. Yeah, I mean, they should have caught it. Yes, the answer is yes. I can't sit here and try to explain it. They had the damage from a race in the morning. You should know. What up, Cohen?
Max.
That's my guy right there.
Yeah.
They had the Super Cup in the morning. You have the damage, so you should know what it is right away.
Yeah, I mean, for how much money there is in F1, they should be able to pick up on things like this. Like, when I was watching the replay of the crash, I saw all of that debris on Lance's tires, and immediately, like, duh, he can't stop. He's got crap all over the track. So, I think the FIA... We're going to get to the stewards here in a second, but I think not a great look from the FIA today for multiple reasons. What do you think about the call for a red flag and the restart?
Inconsistent.
Being a standing start.
Inconsistent on the red flag. I don't have an issue with the red flag. I just think the consistency is wrong, like poor there. Like if you're going to call the red flag on Charles, which I Lance's. Which I'm confused now. They called it on Lance's. No, they called it on Charles. Really backwards there. Um, that one is probably because they finally realized and they want to look at the track, so that's probably where the inconsistency comes from. The non-rolling start actually kind of pissed me off. It makes it exciting, sure,
Mm-hmm.
but for Kimi to be that dominant and then you just to make it anyone's race again
Yep.
is kind of dumb. And it'd be one thing if we're like 35 laps in, right? We had 10
Mm-hmm.
laps left. The order is decided. I mean, you could look at the spacing on the track. Like a hard restart is stupid. I don't care. It's dumb.
I mean, look at Abu Dhabi 2021, right? Like, they're going to opt to make things interesting for the spectator.
It's viewership, yes.
It's entertainment value. It's not about fairness. So it's a business. I get it. I think if I'm Kimi, part of me would be upset, but screw it. I won anyway. If anything, it just shows how dominant I was, that I was able to rebuild the lead that I finished with.
6.5 seconds and 10 laps. I had a good start again. Everyone was giving him a hard time for starts. He's next to a Ferrari, who their takeoff is wonderful this year, and a 7-time world champ. So, I mean, that's pressure.
Yeah. Well, let's enter the pain chamber and talk about both of our boys DNFing.
I was so angry. Quali was so exciting watching Max be Max again, and a car that him and you could tell the car was good. Hadjar's performing well. Like Hadjar qualifying good, and Max qualifying good. The car's performing. The Red Bull number 2 is never up there anymore. And him being so neck and neck with Kimi, and then you seen the spark of Charles coming in, and unfortunately he crashed. It was just heartbreaking because I knew the biggest battle we were going to have was going to be in the very beginning, and that turn 1, whoever was a little off on their start might be losing position. I mean, more so if Kimi was off. It's just sad. I mean, I feel bad for Max, and I feel like every time something like this happens, we're losing him, which isn't how it should be. But you don't hear that much disappointment in him. I think because he's achieved a lot and he knows crap happens, and it's kind of been in the shithole this year anyway. And the worst part is you hear that he actually had a good start, but when he dropped the clutch, it went into anti-stall. So it's you could see it right away. I mean, I literally yelled in my living room and saw the flash, and I'm like, he anti-stalled. It's over. Alex, my wife, is just looking at me like, dang. I'm like, yeah, I'm done. The race is over. I don't care anymore.
I felt for you because you called it on the preview pod. You said Max is going to hang it out there, and if anyone can drag this Red Bull to a finish, it's going to be Max. And lo and behold, he did it. Parked it on the front row. And that was one of my last texts before I went to bed last night, was talking to you. And we were like, does Max send it in turn 1? Does Max take the lead in turn 1?
He was going to take it in turn 1.
So, yeah, I mean, huge disappointment. Seems like he did a quick debrief for the team, did his interview, and then pulled a South Park and said, screw you guys, I'm going home.
He's like, I live 500 meters away, I'm going to walk.
I don't blame the guy, and I think you hit the nail on the head that every little thing like this is just chipping away at his patience for the sport. And I think that grass on the other side is starting to look pretty green. So
yeah, and there's not much more to talk about Max on this one, but I think the chipping away is the hybrid. I mean, we have obviously new regulations, you have issues, but there's so much with the starting and the anti-stall and the battery and power unit not cooperating. I think it's very difficult for drivers that are having issues accepting it, which get into Lando. I'm sure you got plenty to say about that. But I mean, Fernando Alonso came out today again and said the hybrids have no place in racing. They shouldn't
Yeah.
be raced.
They're just unnecessarily complicated. Like, I think what racers want is they want to showcase their ability. And when you get cars that are this complicated and you got to lift off and you got to, use your battery in this way for this long in this part of the track, like, they just want to be wheel to wheel and race one another.
It's
like,
too much of a brain game mechanically instead of racing. And I no shot at Formula E because Formula E is dope, but those are electric cars.
Mm-hmm.
Then we should have gas, like just no hybrid. Just separate the racing, part the C's.
Yeah. I mean, the sustainability thing is just greenwashing. We talked about this on our last episode. Like the logistics, the travel, all the private jets, like. The race fuel that's used in a race is such a minuscule impact compared to the rest of the impact of the sport. Like,
yeah,
with sustainable
more worried
fuels,
about the tires they're going through, dude.
Yeah,
the freaking fuel. Oh, I did one lap on the sauce. Those are done.
That's crazy. So
let's hear about your boy and McLaren.
Yeah. What an unlucky streak, man. Between the DNFs and the DNSs, it's a little frustrating that Oscar hasn't had the same issues. Like, is Lando just getting the bad batch of engines? Like,
I do feel for you on that because Lando has been performing better than Oscar and shows he has the pace. Not to jump in on you, but to support your guy really quick.
I appreciate it. No, I don't know. I'm glad to see that he's not as moody as he was in previous years. I think getting that championship under his belt has helped him mature a little bit. But I don't know. If I was him, I would be like, what the hell, man? Like, we have a decent car. We should be able to get decent finishes, but the reliability is just so garbage. Like, Kimi has literally almost led as many laps as Lando has completed on the season.
It's a wild
between
stat.
his DNFs and DNSs.
It's wild.
Yeah. It's a shame. I look at the championship standings, and I think McLaren could be a whole lot higher than they are. Right now, it's looking like they're going to be P3 in the constructors unless Red Bull outdevelops them. So that might be our fight, is who's going to get P3 in the constructors.
I can agree. Quick side note, the AUOU testing, I guess, is it right? I don't know the acronym for it. I always forget. But Red Bull apparently has the strongest power unit.
I've been seeing that
sucks
too.
For me, but at least shows that development's going the right way. See, every time I talk about Red Bull, he comes in the room. It's cool. Yeah, based on the testing, Red Bull apparently has the strongest power unit, followed by Mercedes. So that means Ferrari down are going to have the chance for more testing. So I think McLaren and Red Bull probably will be fighting for P3. Hamilton's second in points in the championship now. So Ferrari are showing life. Or George just sucks right now and has had some bad luck. But jumping back on your Lando thing, I think there's a few drivers that had poor luck. I think Max and Lando are probably on top of that with the things that have gone wrong this year, which is funny because it's our two favorite drivers. You have,
as the last couple of years, we had a few good fights, and now we got to pay our dues.
Yeah. I feel like the maturity from Lando definitely, after winning the championship, you've achieved your lifelong dream. So there's a little less pressure there, which doesn't mean you don't want to win another one, but he doesn't have that same weight on his shoulders.
Yeah, he got the monkey off his back for sure. Yeah, well, I do want to talk about Russell. And you mentioned, is this Lewis stepping up or is this Russell crumbling? I think it's both, right? I think we've seen a resurgence from Lewis, and Russell is, I don't know, pulling a Lando, right? Around this time last year, Lando was all in his head and making mistakes, and Oscar had his number. this seems like that same story ran back. I also think
Well,
the stewards had it out for him a little bit here today.
well, okay, so let me get on my Russell tangent. I've been nice to him the last few pods. He was bitching a lot today, again, and this is what I don't like about Russell. Every little thing, you're like, okay, here it comes. Even the commentators saying, oh yeah, Russell's about to get on the radio. Everyone knows. And even with their drive-through, Mercedes basically told him to shut up because I think they tried to pull a fast one on the drive-through and kind of sneak it because they stacked. I think they tried to make that work. Obviously, it didn't. Um, it did feel
I
like
don't.
they're kind of out to get him though. Like when they did the white line infringement on pit exit,
Yeah,
I'm
that
like,
white line thing was lame.
like he wasn't over the line, but I mean they were looking for like a millimeter. That was crazy.
Oh. No, well, you and I have learned this lesson in the F1 game. You cannot serve a drive-through penalty under safety car or virtual safety car. So I think they got it wrong. They definitely also like were all out of whack, like the way, because they double stacked, right? So Kimi got his in, and then George was like slow to roll into the box. So there was just a lack of communication. I think they had intended to serve a penalty. It wasn't even a drive through the first one. It was just a time penalty.
Yeah.
But once he got in the box, the front left mechanic changed the tire, and so then it was improperly served. Well, it was improperly served. Yeah. Which led to the drive-through penalty and him dropping from, I don't know, P5, P6, all the way down to P13.
Yeah, the stack on the stop lost position to Hadjar, and then all the penalties. Yeah, he got in trouble. It was not a good day for him. And I hate to say it, but I don't think he really has a shot against Kim anymore. We are going back to your Rosberg thing, though. It's the exact same gap as it was with Hamilton now after 5 races, 66 points, 5 races. It's like the exact same stats.
History repeats itself.
Yeah, it really does.
I was also reminded, going back to Brazil last year, Kimi visited Ayrton Senna's grave, and ever since then, he's just been on a tear. Like, even the way that he finished last year, he finished on the podium, Brazil, like... I don't know. I think we're entering a Kimi era. So if another car can close the gap, maybe we'll see some fights. But I definitely have Kimi above George right now.
I think we might have some fights with George, but I 100% agree. I think if other teams don't close the gap enough, and without a little bit of luck, I think he's going to blow everyone out of the water. I think it's just going to be race after race.
I think we'll see a repeat of Canada at some point. Like, every driver has their favorite track. I imagine at Silverstone, George is going to be right there on Kimi's heels. But it's going to be circuit dependent. I think Kimi's going to beat him more often than not. And yeah, I think at this point, what is it, 66-point lead over Lewis now? Lewis P2 in the championship. I mean, he's going to have to really fall off the cliff here. But all he needs to do is finish well.
It's his to lose. I did like his quote to George saying, "How do I lose something I haven't obtained yet?" So he has the mentality of like, I'm just gonna go, and I think that's maybe just the young gentleman he is. He's just eager. He's out there fighting. I love it. I hope we see the burnouts every time he wins. It's exciting. But yeah, a couple of George fights. I'm not a big Ferrari fan. I love Leclerc, but sad day for him at home. But I kind of do help Ferrari get a little closer in development, so that's not just a complete blowout year. I don't care if Kimi wins all the races, but I want to see some battles.
Yep, agreed. I also think Monaco, just jumping on the Ferrari thing really quick, I think Monaco made the Ferrari look quicker than it really is. Ferrari's advantage is in the low-speed corners, and that's 90% of Monaco. And so without the straight road,
the average is like 90 miles an hour around there. It's not fast.
Yeah. So, we're going to Barcelona next. A lot of high-speed sweepers and medium-speed corners there. I think we're going to see Ferrari fall off in the relative performance, and we'll see what upgrades people bring. So,
I would imagine we will see McLaren and Red Bull showing up to that race because Red Bull's quick.
Yep.
McLaren's quick. So Ferrari might be looking more of like a P3, P4 team there.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see what upgrades come. I haven't done my homework yet to see what they're bringing, but it's a quick turnaround for Barcelona, so we'll see. Speaking of ticky-tack, penalties on George Russell. We had Oprah in the steward's office today. You get a penalty, and you get a penalty, and you get a penalty. Ridiculous. What do you think about this pit lane thing? Everyone got a speeding in the pit lane thing as a penalty.
You brought it up
It's
earlier.
average time instead of speed? Like, how does that make sense?
Is it really average?
It is based on time, and so the reason that these penalties were happening is they were cutting the edge of the pit lane near Cadillac's pit to try to get back on the track quicker, but what that resulted in was a lower average time or speed. I don't know if it's time or speed, but it's an average, and so it resulted in a lower average, therefore triggering all these penalties. When you go and look at all the official FIA documents, all of these guys were like 0.1 of a kilometer over the average. Like, incredibly lame ticky-tacky penalties. The intent there is to keep people in the pit lane safe, right? It's not to enforce these little micro... I don't know. It was lame.
I don't know. My kids were too restless after 2.5 hours of F1, so I didn't get to listen to all the normal stuff afterwards. But that's ridiculous. I listened to Gasly's interview later, just on my phone. I was looking up some stuff, and he said heartbreak, but you could see the heartbreak. I mean, the dude's been suffering at Alpine for how long, and he's going to be on the podium at Monaco, and obviously things happened in front of him, but he drove a good race. Things worked out. Hey, I got a podium, and then all of a sudden you have 10 seconds of penalties. Like, and if they're that kind of margins, that's ridiculous. I mean, it should be a sensor. It should be, are you traveling, this speed by this line, whatever part whatever part of your car has a sensor, I would assume it would be like where you attach the nose so it never gets damaged. And then to where you hit it at the end, and you just
we literally already have the system in place.
Yes,
like when this happened to Checo, right? You're not in position in your grid box or a false start penalty. There's a sensor in the car and a sensor on the track, and when those things get misaligned or you jump, that's how you get a penalty. Why are we not using that at the beginning of the pit lane and the end of the pit lane and using telemetry data to monitor their speed? Why are we doing weird averages and like it's so unnecessarily complicated? Like, are you going 60 kph or are you going 61 kph? That should be the penalty. It shouldn't be an average.
There's a space
that's crazy
that you need to go 60 kph. And as long as you were doing that within that space, you're good. Who cares? Don't run anyone over.
We're just talking up to another weird F1 FIA quirk. I feel bad for Gasly.
Go back to Gasly.
Well, I want to talk about Gasly really quick because I do feel really bad for him, but he was not the only one to get that penalty, and he also would not be in that podium position if it hadn't been for other drivers facing that same penalty.
Yeah, that's why I said
like George's whole race was ultimately caused by this speeding in the pit lane penalty, then a lack to serve it, then a drive-through. But if he didn't get the first speeding in the pit lane penalty, he's probably on the podium.
Yeah, very good shot at it.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think the penalties were garbage. I think when you mess around with the rules and get so ticky-tacky, it just, particularly as spectators, it kind of ruins what we're watching, right? It adds a little bit of drama and intrigue, like, ooh, how long is is their stop going to be? Is their penalty going to cause them to lose a position? But like, it ruined a few guys' races. Like, that sucks.
It's not fun when there's 8 up there. I'm sitting there
Yeah.
with my wife on the couch, like doing math of like, okay, so this, Gasly has 10-second penalty, such and such is 3 seconds behind, and this person's 7, and this person. So I'm like, okay, so if they keep this gap, this person will jump up, but then Hadjar's under investigation behind Gasly. So you're like, okay, so if this comes through, then this person's going to move up. And I'm like, this is stupid. I shouldn't have to do all this
Like
math.
that meme with all the math symbols. Just you're like, who's going to be in what position?
There's like 7 exclamation marks on the board. It's like under investigation, 5-second penalty, 10-second penalty, 5-second. Russell sucks. Race over.
Well, you had mentioned Hadjar and his penalty. So that one actually came from he had a safety car infringement investigation, and he skirted that. But he had another one for the red flag, and it came out after the race that the Red Bull mechanics were making suspension changes under the red flag. Someone saw them and asked what was going on, and they said, "Oops, never mind," and reverted it. Wild stuff. The fact that they would try it, and B, the fact that they were so forgiving that they're like, just fix it, it'll be fine, like put it back the way that it was. I would think with how ticky-tacky they were being on other things, that they would have ripped Red Bull a new one on this.
Very lenient. Very lenient.
Yeah.
That's like that's almost like the don't touch other teams' cars, just look at them type thing. This is the no touchy zone. You can do this, It's like first base. This is first base. Okay. You can touch nothing else. You get first base. Very lenient. Not even really defending my team. They didn't drive with it, so I guess if you reverted it back, I don't know who's checking that they reverted it back to the statistics.
I'm not that upset about it, but I was kind of rooting for a penalty there as a consolation prize so that Oscar can wind up on the podium.
Yeah, fair. I like Oscar. It would have been fun. I did have Hadjar on my fantasy team, so that saved my day.
I haven't even checked my points.
You killed it. You're fine. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
You murdered.
I did pick up Checo.
Your team went up 6.5 million, which is huge. Yeah.
That's Checo for you.
Mine didn't do that good.
Speaking of Checo.
Yeah, let's get back to Checo.
This is a guy who's won this race before. He knows this track. He drug that Cadillac all the way to P10, only to be undermined by not his first, but his second out of position penalty on the race. Dude got one on the start, served the penalty, did the rest of the race, had the red flag restart, was again out of his position. He was out of his grid box, and ruined his race, finished P15.
No excuse. This is a veteran driver. I like Checo. I always have.
No, just mental errors, honestly.
Mental errors, a little rusty, just not thinking. Just dumb. It happens to a lot of the best drivers, and everyone's really tattly on the grid box. Like, hey, this person's out. This person's
Lando did it at the beginning.
Oh, yeah, he was on.
He was like, oh, yeah, George is out of his box.
It's super immediately. Subtle to George is out of his box. Which I always think is kind of funny.
It's really hard when I'm trying to actively teach my son not to be a tattletale, and we watch a race and they're just, he's doing that, teacher, he's out of his box.
Your driver's not as bad as mine. Max is driving at 170 kilometers an hour, looking up at the big screen on a lap saying like, oh, P9 went off track, and he's like 40 seconds ahead.
I remember that.
It's like, dude has like 4 brains. Veteran mistakes. It's a bummer because Caddy would have had a point.
First point ever as a team. That would have been a massive win, particularly at this track.
Absolutely.
So
he did have 7 DNFs to help him, but still, it's kind of like Gasly being up there. You ran your race.
Win is a win.
Things worked out. Yep. Kind of sad for Checo, but good race by him. Can't complain.
Well, what it meant was we got the first points of the season by Aston Martin, and who else other than the rookie Fernando Alonso?
I said points for Alonso.
Yeah.
Again, I'm just going to keep saying it, but I'll stop now. He got his point. The
I
rookie got a point.
definitely I saw potential for them to get a point. I did not think that he would finish ahead of George Russell in a race.
Dude, Russell, man.
Weird times. And then poor Carlos Sainz was the only one who finished behind Checo. He got
He had a rough
knocked
restart,
around. Yeah, he got knocked around by Hülkenberg, and then two turns later spun 180 degrees by, was it Colapinto? Yeah, Colapinto. To be fair, I went back and watched both those replays, and he kind of turned in on both those guys. Like, Hülkenberg had nowhere to go. He was being a little aggressive to be there in the first place on a restart. I think it's a racing incident. But, I mean, Sainz kind of tried to close the door in a corner where, like, Hülkenberg only has so much turning radius. Like,
well, they went back to the replay. He was at like his max turn angle. There's literally nothing he could do. So that was happening. The Colapinto one at that point was just funny. And
well, I would actually argue
Alex
that the Colapinto one.
Alex picked up Sainz on our fantasy team, so I was
rough.
laughing hysterically when he got hit, stayed in the race, and then you see him backwards like 2 turns later. I'm like, and there goes Sainz.
I mean, the second one is in my opinion on him. Like, he 100% turned in, and
he was trying to make
that.
up for what just happened in the restart panic. At least he was able to just drive off track though, which is nice. Because throwing another restart in there, I would have maybe fallen asleep. It was getting a little rough.
Well, I think you and I can come up with some more options for how do we fix this Monaco Grand Prix. I don't think it's going away anytime soon, so hopefully the FIA can. Yeah, hopefully the FIA can come up with something that makes this a little bit more entertaining. I had actually debated turning this race off, but I decided to slug my way through it, and and then the Stroll incident happened and made things a little bit more exciting at the end. But other than that, it would have been a snoozer. So 2 back-to-back bangers. I think we kind of knew the way that this one was going to go.
Yeah.
Processional.
It was all quality.
We'll see what Barcelona is looking like.
Yeah, I'm excited for Spain. Quick turnaround. We'll have another video for y'all, and we'll figure out what upgrade packages are coming for sure. I'm very curious about that. See what we're looking at, and hopefully it's a banger. Hopefully we got top 4 teams fighting. Love to see George and Kimi elbows out again. We all know George is probably very pissed at this point because his career is going the same way it was with Lewis. So we'll see. I don't know. I'm excited.
Yeah.
All righty. We'll catch y'all next time.